Another exciting time. The world we live in of just trading macro data points, which I think are actually getting much less relevant if you just look
Agreed.
at how
The
how
volatility has
last
been
year,
since the print.
yeah, how last year things trade. People anticipating these things, right? The more that something's talked about, the less relevant it's maybe going
Yep.
to be. And so FOMC, CPI, all these things, once they pass, it's still like very much a situation where I think what the traditional assets and risk assets are doing is looking ahead, being like, well, they're going to eventually pivot or pause, right?
Yep. Yep.
And normalcy is something that like I think we all have to kind of accept, right? Inflation is going to be high for an extended period of time. How that
Absolutely.
translates into the economy and consumers and whatnot is not necessarily going to work the same in markets. I mean, if you looked at COVID, and the market went straight up, and like people were in dire situations at one point before the
Yep.
money. We printed a bunch of money. Um, yeah, so I'm kind of secretly bullish, given
Oh
like
no, you said the word.
near term at least for kind of what we talked about off stream, and we'll talk about this is like give me a flush and like squeeze it hard, and
Yes.
then
Catch
that's
everyone
probably another
offside.
short opportunity.
Yep.
But like vicious moves like that are what we kind of live for as traders and trying to figure out who's offsides. And so
Awesome.
excited to talk
Yes.
about it.
So let's hop right in, ISO. Let's take a look at like DXY and S&P, just to kind of give an overview how we've just been mostly chopping around, NASDAQ, etc. And then we'll kind of get into BTC and ETH and some alternative shitcoins, as we like to call them, on our lovely stream.
Yeah, hold on one second. I just have to get something here. All right, so let me pull these up. I just got turned upside down for a little bit. Yeah, what do you guys want to look at first? The traditional assets?
Yeah, let's look at DXY, just kind of give an overview based on last week's FOMC and NFP, how that kind of impacted things, looking at it from like a higher time frame overview.
Okay, yeah. So I think I said last time, basically, we're talking about something that's really not done that much for now. Can you see it?
Yep.
26 days. Okay, 130 basis point range, basically. And all we do is talk about this. And
Yep.
so, it's like it's kind of the same as like the other markets. Like people want this to go down, right?
They
Like
need it to go down.
people want the market to go down, right? I can see the desire for it. And it's like we just went down a lot. Okay, now we're just continually kind of grinding up, and people are in disbelief of it. Like, what is going to make this, go up at this point? I mean, it's another 25 basis points really going to do it. Is that going to make like the dollar extremely bullish? I mean, again, we talked about you have to trade above like 103 basically to kind of like consider
Get a
that. Like,
trend going.
yeah, and so we're just we're doing this, right? So if there's no real decisive direction, I don't have something that where I'm going to take like a view of like, yeah, it's breaking out or breaking down. Like if this starts breaking down, it's going to 99, right? And then that's going
Yep.
to be good for risk. If this starts breaking up, and we're going to push towards 103, then that's probably going to give you a pullback in risk assets and crypto, and maybe you're going to get those levels we talked about, BTC and ETH last week. I feel like we've been
Yep.
talking about the same levels for a month, and so we're beating the dead horse around the dollar, and it's like, okay, this is what we've dealt with for
Yep.
over 3 weeks. If we take a look at traditional like markets, like let's just go look at the ES chart. Like, yeah, people want this to go down, but like since all right, so April 18th to now, like okay, 4180 to 4070. This,
Yep.
this
Yep.
is what we've done. I will say the more you touch this resistance, the more likely it is that you're probably going to break it. I mean, right?
Yep.
That
Rule of
that's
fives, right?
yeah. And so we haven't really done that much here. And like this is kind of the nature of markets itself. Like you could look at the index and say like it's choppy, but like I think if you look at some individual stocks, like anything that's AI related or like tech earnings have really not been that bad. I think that surprised a lot of people in the sense of like this doesn't scream recession for me. Also, this is maybe the most telegraphed recession I've ever heard of. And so, like, is it going to happen? Again, I don't know, but like the what did you say? The least likely outcome is
Is the most entertaining outcome is always
yeah. So so we'll look at the Nasdaq over here and like is this like bearish?
No, it's just
Not
grinding
really.
up, right? It's just
Yeah, it's
chopping or
grinding up.
grinding.
Like so, can it go to 13.7? Yes. Can it come down, retest 12.6? I guess sure. But I don't see like a lot of just like negative things that are just going to like make the market nuke outside of some like geopolitical factor that could come into play, that is more
That's a
black
fair
and
point
white.
for sure.